He's pretty much my entire life. Hung out with him all the time. Probably about the last 4 years, never really wasn't with Nathan. Me and him pretty much were each other, you know. Really helped each other out with everything.
I was this shy little girl, and then when I met Nathan, I was a completely different person. I was much more outgoing. I did crazy things. I probably got hurt more when I was with him, but I actually started talking to people, and I had a crazier sense of humor, I guess. But I don't know, Nathan has affected me more than any person I've ever met in my entire life. Nathan is the best friend I've ever had.
Just the way that he'd always try and get you to go do something new or do something fun and exciting, and not always just, sit around and do nothing. Like, let's go do something though. Like, let's go fishing, let's go kayaking, or whatever it be. Let's go riding, anything.
Got some wicked boogers in my nose.
Nathan Bauer. What
I got.
Nate's changed my life in a lot of ways. When he was alive, he changed me by, bringing out a lot in me of, I'm kind of a passive person sometimes. It's kind of like, you hang out with Nate and he'll do something, and I used to be like, oh man, that's kind of embarrassing, man. It's like, oh God, I can't believe I'm with him. But after a while, I grew on you, and all of a sudden you're doing it with him, and it's kind of like, this makes you realize that who gives a crap what anybody else thinks, It's like, just live each day. It's awesome,
I used to be more, just have one or two or a couple really close friends and stay close to them, but now learning that you can't really do that. You just got to open up to people. And I guess that's kind of what Nate did. He really didn't care what you did. You're his friend as long as you weren't to him.
Nate has showed me basically freedom of thought to do whatever I want. Any kind of idea he had with his, with his car, with, skateboarding or ramps, anything, he would just go for it.
He made me look at things in a different way, a different perspective. There's no line of what is fun and what is boring. After I met him, it was pretty much, you could have a good time no matter what.
It's amazing just how much of an impact Nathan Bauer left on every one of his friends. He loved to meet new people, but never forgot about his original group of close friends, dubbed the Dallas Crew. Growing up in West Dallas, Wisconsin, Nathan and his friends would ride their BMX bikes around town and have fun doing whatever they wanted to do. This next segment describes just a few specific moments told by the ones that lived them with him.
He has more cars than I think my parents had in their whole life. Let's name off all the cars Nathan had, seriously.
Let's see, he had a Talon, he had another Talon.
He had this little, some little Toyota thing, the red Camaro. And he had a couple of Talons.
He had 3 Talons, actually.
The convertible Celica.
Oh, red car. I don't know what it was.
The Danger Ranger.
The Ranger Danger. He had this old beat-up pickup truck that barely ran.
Yeah, Nate had an old beat-up Ranger that the suspension was falling out of it, and there's a hose clamp holding the entire suspension together. Just got pretty rad like that, and went off some pretty crazy jump through some bushes off. It was pretty cool. I think he got the front wheels off the ground, which is pretty rad.
Well, he had the Volkswagen that got destroyed when the chimney fell on it.
I remember he told me he got this Jetta. I didn't see it because I was in school. And then one day I was talking to him, I asked him how his Jetta's doing. He's like, oh, you didn't hear? A chimney fell out of it. I was like, thought he was making something up, and he told me his dad's chimney fell off and crushed his car.
We all went on my Taurus and we went to MATC and we hit this jump. And as soon as my car like hit the ground, sparks were flying. And it was probably a really bad idea, and the transmission like pretty much broke down during the whole escapade too.
One of the first memories I had with Nate is when we were in Cub Scouts and we brought a bunch of grape soda, and Nate must have been through like probably his 4th or 5th soda, and Nate could always, he always like burping, but one time it's just, I remember the pack leader, Rick, was up there talking, and you know, Nate's burping through the whole thing and just kind of doing it, whatever. But then he just lets out this epic burp, and it's like, it rings your ears. Like, he gets done with it, and everybody just looks at him and just can't stop laughing. You're just like, I can't believe that came out of, you know, like a kid, and especially at like 12.
Like one time I went to the gym, and we came out of the gym, and his car like was just covered in like white shoe polish, like, and somebody wrote like just obscene stuff on his car, you know, about genitals. I don't know.
Pat used to live by that old thrift mart or thrift shop or whatever it was on 77th and National, and we would go in there just messing around because we didn't have anything to do. And I saw this leather skirt, and I just thought it would be a really good idea if Nathan would put it on and like model it for us. He did a really good job. He did the front, and he turned around and did it in the back, and you're just like posing, you know? It was awesome.
It was his birthday, and it was midnight, and big party. Everyone's going nuts, and they're going all crazy. And I could hardly even hear him, but he's over there, and we're dancing. It's like, he's like, where am I going? He's like, I got goals, and I got this, and we're just like, you know, we're out Friday night. I'm like, oh, why are we talking about this? And he's just like, you know, what direction am I heading? And I'm like, Nate, don't worry about that. We're having fun right now. You know, we're young and we're living it up. He just gave like this grin that just went like this, like, and I'm like, yeah.
Nathan and his friends would go beer fishing.
They went out and baited in front of a liquor store with an empty beer case.
On a fishing pole with fishing line, and when somebody would bend over to pick it up, they would reel it in.
And just film people as you were checking to see if the thing was full or not.
One time we went to 27th Street Trails to tear it up, and we were shredding for a little while. Nate's busting some cans and stuff like that. And after we got a little bored, we decided to head back. So we were ripping down there like we normally do, and we came to this little baby duck. So we stopped. And this duck saw us and started hauling right towards us, like he found his long lost mother and father or some crap. We actually walked that duck all the way from his I think it's like 28th in Oklahoma almost, all the way to Jackson Park, which is on like 43rd in Oklahoma. And that little duck just turned it up with us.
Any time spent with Nathan created a new memory. He always made sure he had a good time and made a good time for anyone around him. He loved all of his friends and family, so much that it truly bothered him to see anybody without a smile on their face. It was always a joy to be in Nathan's presence and a disappointment when goodbyes had to be said. Join me in this last segment as close friends and family say their final goodbyes to Nathan Bauer.